For the last year, Carrie Vantal has come to the Prairie Center once a week to receive an infusion as part of her participation in a Phase 1 clinical trial. She was originally diagnosed with colorectal cancer 10 years ago.
Did the radiation, surgery, and chemo at that time. Did well for 5 years. And in 2019, 5 years later, we found that the cancer had metastasized into some lymph nodes in my back. So then we started the chemo again, and the cancer responded well again. So we did chemo and radiation, went on maintenance therapy, and then in, I think it was 2022, it started growing again.
That's when she started looking at other options. That included enrolling in a Phase 1 clinical trial right here in Sioux Falls, only about an hour away from her home.
I really wanted to try something new, and when this opportunity arose here in Sioux Falls, there wasn't much hesitation.
She was the first patient in the United States to be able to enroll on this trial that had already been going in Australia and South Korea. And so she has been the longest one in the United States because she has continued to see response to treatment.
Avera has been involved in clinical trials for several decades, including Phase 3, which typically have hundreds or thousands of patients enrolled.
The Phase 3 clinical trials have a drug that's moved through the phases of we can prove that it's safe, we can prove that it's effective, now we need to test it against standard of care and see what's better. And so those were our initial trials that we were able to get involved in. And we did well enrolling on those trials, and we really helped patients have opportunities that they otherwise wouldn't have.
More recently, Avera has been able to offer Phase 1 clinical trials. Typically, these clinical trials are offered at larger institutes, making the Avera Cancer Institute rare in this offering.
Offering early phase clinical trials really means that we have to come together as a team, from the principal investigator, the physician that's really overseeing the entire team. We have to have a really strong research staff that is dotting every I, crossing every T, making sure that we know that protocol backwards and forwards, and making sure that we are doing everything correctly from the time that we offer a study and consent the patient through every single day that we take care of them.
That means this is the first opportunity that involves humans taking the drug or therapy. It requires careful monitoring of patients for side effects, as well as positive trends in a patient's condition.
For a lot of the early phase 1 or phase 2 clinical trials, patients will often have had to have the standard of care chemotherapy treatments or immunotherapy treatments already done, and their cancer has grown through those standard of care, and so they're looking for a different opportunity. We know that clinical trials are a necessary part of trying to prove that an exciting drug in the lab can be safe and effective in humans, and maybe even better than standard of care. And so that's why we pushed, to have clinical trials available here, because that's how you actually improve care for patients.
Dr. McKean says these treatments start out as Phase 1, then move on to Phases 2 and 3, before potentially becoming standard of care.
Proving that it's safe, proving that it works against the cancer, proving that it's as good or better than standard of care. That's how these new and exciting drugs get approved by the FDA, so that all of us cancer doctors all around the country can use them. And so I want patients to know that them participating in clinical trials really moves the field forward.
And it's an option patients have close to home.
Yes, I have to travel here once a week, but really that's nothing compared to living in Houston or traveling to Rochester. Dr. McKean and April and her team have to become very knowledgeable about it all. But all the nurses here in infusion, the nurses at the hospital who did not know what I was going to throw at them, the nurses in the lab, pharmacy, they all have to become educated and prepare for this.